welcome to the We Got You Mama Summit. Thank you so much for joining us. Abbie Feder is the founder and CEO of InCircle Fertility, and she founded InCircle Fertility after coming out on the other side of all the struggles with her infertility and pregnancy loss. So she's going to share a little more on that, her journey through it, and how InCircle Fertility came about. Yeah, and you're my fellow, what do we call ourselves? Los Angelian, what do we call ourselves?
Angelinos, SoCal gal.
I don't know if I call
Yeah.
myself that. I wasn't born here, but
No,
my
me
fellow
neither.
Angelino
Yes, but
gets to live in LA with me and deal with all the fun things that LA has to offer.
it's true. It doesn't happen often in these.
Yeah.
So it's nice. Yeah, we're like neighbors. Yes,
Mhm.
thank you. Thank you for that intro. I'm Abbie. Exactly what you said is true. My journey to parenthood was a very long 6-year journey. We experienced every piece of the pie, pregnancy loss, ectopic. We had to reduce at some point from 3 to 2. That's a whole separate story. Um, we went to multiple clinics and multiple doctors and had 8 million second opinions. We definitely almost got divorced. I mean, not really, but it brought our marriage to the brink for sure.
Yeah.
And we did come out the other side. I can't say unscathed. It's certainly a part of my identity forever, and something. Now my twins are 5 and I'm still 5 years post infertility grappling with my identity and as a mom and post infertility. We can talk more about that. But very lucky. Like, I'm in a heterosexual relationship. I present as Caucasian, so I'm treated well in medical fields. And I had access to therapy and a supportive family. And I really felt like there was still this gap in my care. I just wanted someone to hold my hand and explain to me, who's been through it before, what to expect and how to expect it, and if my feelings were valid. And so that is what I created when I created InCircle Fertility. And I now say that I hold the hearts and hands of women and couples struggling to not succeed. I mean, yes, succeed, but successfully create their family.
Right.
And it's mostly women, but sometimes, they'll bring a husband or two in. They don't have 2 husbands, 2 or more will bring a husband in. Girl, one of those
Or
days,
they
haven't had enough
might.
caffeine, right?
They just bring one in at a time. No. Yeah.
Yes. So that's InCircle.
I love it. Very cool. And so where are you at now with in motherhood, kiddos?
Yeah. So motherhood's really freaking hard. I think everyone here probably has that memo. And it is hard for me to complain about motherhood because I wanted it for so long.
Yeah.
And when I work with women going through secondary infertility, which is when they had the first no problem and then they have a hard time having a second or third sometimes, there's so much guilt, right? No matter what part of the aisle we're on, there's guilt. Like, there's guilt when we complain about them. There's guilt when we have 1 but want 2. Why is nothing ever enough? There's guilt when I came out on the other side with twins. I feel guilt about people who started their journey when I did and they still don't have, their prize in hand, and they might never. We are just, I guess, as empathetic human beings, we just feel for it because we've been to those various stages and we know what the feelings are like. So there's like survivor's guilt and then there's mom guilt, and you put them together and it can be a really crazy combination,
Yeah.
especially with secondary infertility. So many women I find are very scared to share their feelings, to share that they're trying for a second, because they're afraid everyone's going to say you should be happy with what you have.
Yeah.
And they're not mutually exclusive. These women are happy with what they have, and they're entitled to dream about the family that they want to build, whatever that looks like. And sometimes we need that reminder because of our crazy
Right.
sense of guilt,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But look, at the end of the day, like, a sleepless night is a sleepless night, whether you spent 6 years getting your kids here or not. Not being able to go to the bathroom alone as an adult because someone's always in there is a whole different set of circumstances, whether you wanted it or not. And I
Yeah.
think I find with women who didn't ultimately get the family that they wanted, there is very much a, well, you asked for it. because I think that's our own defensive emotional response to handling whatever somebody else might be saying that doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's really no way to win, basically, which I'm going to internalize as like every way wins. That this is just part of life, is handling these pieces of guilt, and we just got to move forward anyway, right? And like that's the one thing between, like, technically I'm a certified life coach. When I talk to clients about what the difference is between coaching and therapy, like I'm for both. Therapy, maybe we would unpack that a little bit more. As a coach, I'm just going to move us forward through it and figure out
Yeah.
how we make it work, you know?
Yeah. Like you said, someone to like hold your hand through it,
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
there, done that. And we often talk about, okay, so yes, therapy, great. I'm in therapy, but also um I felt like I was lacking more than someone to chat with every other week for 30 minutes, right? Like,
Yes,
you know what I mean? To
exactly.
kind of
Yeah.
support you through maybe some more specific things that, and then to talk and work with someone that's been there, done that, which is huge.
Totally. I mean, it's so huge. I think, you know, what I tell my clients all the time is like this road comes with very unexpected triggers. We don't know when they're going to hit or why or what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And again, like exactly what you said, therapy is great for that at 2 o'clock on Tuesday. But what
Yeah.
happens when it's 5 o'clock on Friday and like you need to run through it with somebody, you know? And I think too, like we really lose, I did at least, and I see this with my clients through the infertility journey. I really lost my sense of my gut, of my instinct,
Mm,
whether it was because I was on a million different hormones, or I just never really, nothing was working. So I stopped, I second guessed everything that I was doing. So having a set of eyes on it who's really objective, but also wants the same outcome for you can be so helpful. And that
yeah.
goes for infertility or anything in life. I think
Yeah.
coaching is so valuable, you know?
You can vent and work through stuff and zero judgment, right?
Exactly.
You're like,
Yeah.
you're just there to support whatever comes out of your mouth, zero judgment. And I think we sometimes limit ourselves based on our situation and who we're talking to, right? The mom that had it easy and the mom that didn't, or and we maybe aren't able to get out the things that we need to just because we're potentially comparing ourselves to the situation or trying to be very sensitive, right? To other people's situations.
Yes.
Um, yeah, no, that's huge. I love that. I um had multiple miscarriages before my first, and
I'm
then
sorry.
I get that. Like I get the like, oh, you got to just be so happy you have this one, because what if you don't get another one? So then like, okay, I have to cherish every single second, and I have to like, create my dream nursery, because what if I never do this, what if this never happens for me again, or, and I just it took someone random, actually, not even someone I was that close with, right? To be like, you can have that stuff, and then you could be okay with having another. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
just assume your journey ends here, because the journey to get there the first time was hard, right? So I
Right.
love that you shared that like whatever your family's vision is, like that should be celebrated and supported. And of course, you're grateful
For
for
what you
finally
have.
having a pregnancy and have it last and have that, come to fruition. And it's
Right.
okay to want to build your family, time and
However
time
you want
again,
it.
multiple
Yeah.
times. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think
Especially like
that's huge.
I've had a client before who came to me for her third, and she was like, I'm so mortified. I have
Yeah.
two beautiful children. Like, am I really going to pursue fertility treatment for a third? Like, why not? If that's what you want, you have to be willing to, if you're willing to open yourself up to the joy of it, you also have to know that once you start treatment, you might not get there. But if you want to know that you did everything, yeah, you can pursue.
Yeah.
Nobody's judging you for pursuing treatment for a third. I mean, I'm certainly not. Maybe somebody else is, but nobody should, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I can't even tell you how many times after I had my son, because I had my daughter first and then a son, then I had another daughter later, that, oh, so you're done after my boy, right? Oh, you got a boy
Yeah.
and a girl, so you're done.
Oh,
Oh, that's so good for you. Like
yeah.
I won the lottery with getting a boy and a girl. I got a male and I got a female, and I've replaced
Hmm.
ourselves on this earth. And so now you're good. Now you're done. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I am done. Like I'm just, this is
Yeah.
new and I have two and it's a lot. So maybe, but I don't like, why is we assume that like, that's going, you're complete. And you're like, maybe I'm not like, and
Right.
maybe I shouldn't be saying those things out loud.
Exactly. Like
How about
people
just
say to
like,
me,
congratulations?
yeah,
Did it.
exactly. People say to me all, because I have a boy and a girl twins, and I do feel very lucky. Family is complete for a host of reasons, but I cannot tell you how many people say to me, "Oh my God, you're so lucky, one and done." And I'm like, if you only knew, one and done, hundreds of thousands of dollars, 6 years, and many lost. But yeah, totally one and done, right? Like
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
are the things that we find ourselves in these situations where we're like, how are people still saying this at
Yeah.
this point in life? You know?
Yeah, maybe think a little. Maybe think a little before you open your mouth
Exactly.
because you don't know everyone's journey, right? So
Totally.
when we talk about this, this mom guilt, this, additional guilt that might come from dealing in motherhood, dealing with babies, dealing with newborn after, former loss and, getting there. Um, what are some of those first steps of working through that? Is it something to just push through? Are there certain tactics or steps or courses or things that you can recommend, or things that you work on with your coaching clients on to help them kind of recognize those feelings, honor them, and then also like navigate that space?
That's really the most important piece of it, what you just said, honor your feelings. So many people feel like there is a perceived amount of time you should be able to grieve, and then you should be pushing through.
Yeah.
There are no shoulds in this kind of heartbreak, really in any kind of heartbreak. So yeah, I want you to push through too. And I think first, it really depends on the client, and I really tailor my coaching to each client. Like most of my clients, I'd say are type A, right? They're working with me because they've tried everything on their own and it's not working and they need help. And that's great. Like that's how I thrive with those kinds of clients. So for a lot of them, when the loss happens, it feels good to them to plan the next thing. But
Mm,
sometimes I can see they start planning and they're not ready. They haven't grieved. And there are so many things you can do to grieve. Um, you know, some umi gumi things, which I'm all for. Like I did all kinds of crazy stuff with Epsom salt baths, and I put Epsom, somebody told me to put Epsom salt in the corner of my house and speak all of my sadness and grief into the salt and then vacuum it up and throw it away. I did it. Like I was
yeah.
up for anything. Um, and then there are very practical things like literally putting your feet in Mother Earth, because I feel like that brings some sort of spiritual connection to motherhood. I also believe so strongly for any kind of grief in salt's cure. So that's again with the Epsom salt. So either Epsom salt bath, ocean water, cry it out, or sweat it out, right?
Mm,
Those all involve salt. And I think salt can be so healing and powerful. So
yeah.
I will force some of my less umigumi people to bring in some of this stuff. And maybe they're just going through the motions and it might make them feel better and it might not, but like, why not try it? Right.
Yeah.
And then really feel it to heal it. Like if you move on too quickly, it's going to continue to linger, the grief, the sadness, and nobody wants to bring that into the next part of their pregnancy journey, whatever that might look like. So
Right.
sometimes I'm like, let's slow down and really feel this. And I will say, I think one of the biggest relationship issues I see is that the man and the woman process loss so differently.
Right.
Um, that's a huge generalization, of course, but there's often the husband is, or the man is like, well, now we know we can get pregnant, which like you don't know. You know that you got pregnant
Right.
once, right?
Right.
If you've had multiple miscarriages, there are no guarantees.
Yeah.
And I think that's always hard for the woman because she feels physically like she's failed in some way and there's shame with
Mhm.
that. And so I think I like to tell my couples, my women, like this is a normal place for a lot of despair in the relationship. And it doesn't mean it's over and it doesn't mean you're not going to get through it, but it's a very common place to have very different feelings. I will say the depth, like the lowest low of my marriage was when I was going through a miscarriage and was not okay with how my husband was processing it. But
Same.
what,
Yeah.
right?
How are you okay with all of this? Like it was
Like
just
I
the
remember he was going to book a
detachment.
trip. Yeah, it's a detachment. He was going to book a trip. I got pregnant, was not clear I was going to sustain the pregnancy, and he wanted to book a trip. And I was like, so you're going to leave me here to maybe miscarry? And he ended up staying, but it was like a fight, fight, fight.
Mhm.
And like, I wish there were a guide when we were getting married, especially now that we all know so many people going through pregnancy loss and infertility. Yeah, everyone is starting to talk about, sure, we know we want 2 kids together. Well, what are you willing to do for those kids? Are we on the
Right.
same page about that? Because
Yeah.
a lot of times we learn in the moment that we're not on the same page, and that is really hard. And that will dictate sort of the course of the rest of the relationship. So, I do hope these conversations, as they continue to be brought into the light, and I think we are making a lot of progress there, but we have to really consider these nuanced topics. Like, I hope, nobody wants to plan for if they're going to go through a pregnancy loss, but like maybe just broach the topic with your partner, because if and when that time comes, you're going to need together to like all the support that you can get to make it through.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Which also, by the way, is why, of course, hire a coach, but also great to be in therapy when you're not in crisis mode so that you can build those skills and tools for when
Mhm.
crisis mode hits,
Yeah.
you
And so
know?
it's hard to, and we've been talking a lot about that with other experts. It's like create some relationships with other people out there in these fields that like if you, yeah, you may not have a reason to reach out or need them, but just know that, oh, I resonated with this person and like they're there for you and you know that
Yeah.
they're accessible too. Not that like, oh, well, I have a waiting list of 5 years out. So sorry, not
Right.
sorry. You know what I mean? Like make sure you have people surrounding you, building that sort of village of support. Cause yeah, that was never like I was obsessed with babies when I was a baby. And so it was like a dream of mine always. Like, I was like nursing my baby dolls at 1 years old, like
Yeah.
I was just like in it. And everyone was I was one of the older cousins. I have like over 50 cousins
Oh
on my
my
mom's
gosh.
side. And so I always had babies, I always got to, take care of all the babies. I babysat a ton. And so when it took years upon years upon years before I had my own, it was such like a shock to people like, oh, I just thought the second you got married, you were, I was like, well, I needed to grow up a little too. Like, come on. And
Right.
then, it took a hot minute. And I think going into it all, maybe I should have, or I don't know, learned more about everyone else's journey. And maybe it wasn't, I mean, social media wasn't a thing and, so there was like less being thrown out, right? But like I was announcing it to the world without
Right.
even knowing that like, 1 in 4 like miscarry. And
Right.
that was even could happen to me, and maybe just a little more not scaring anyone into it, just a little bit more knowledge and
Yes.
compassion for all, because I was also the first in my friend group to have kids or first in my friend group to go through something like this. And so I didn't have things right in front of me. Um, and then I didn't have anyone to relate to either, right? After it did
Right.
happen. And so and then I had to tell everyone that it wasn't going to happen
Yes.
because I was like, I'm pregnant,
Right.
So what do
Yeah.
you say to someone that's like so excited and like, is there, I mean, you hear different information out there, like maybe, like stay healthy and maybe not say anything until like this. And of course, anything could happen throughout an entire pregnancy, but like,
Right. The
is
first
there,
trimester.
and I know
Yeah.
everyone's different, everyone's journey, how they want to share is different, but like, is there like a week that maybe is better that people should feel a little more comfortable sharing their excitement?
Yeah. I think it really changes. Of course, everyone's different, but
Yeah,
also it changes based on how far into your journey you are. So,
yeah,
like, if you've gone through multiple rounds of IVF and then you finally get pregnant, you could either go the route of like, I'm not saying a word because I know that this is very fraught and not a
yeah,
guarantee. Or you can go with the route of like, oh my God, this finally happened and it might not last, but today I am pregnant. And there's no
got it.
wrong or right way.
Mhm.
I think, what I find with people who go on and announce it to the world and then have to give the bad news, these days people don't see it used to be like when you and I, my kids are 5, like for sure when you and I were going through birthing, it was much more you don't say anything first trimester.
Yeah,
Personally, I'm superstitious, so like I would probably have hung on to that.
yeah,
But in this day and age, miscarriage is being talked about so much more that people are like, look, if I tell everybody and then it doesn't happen, I need the support from these people that I'm telling.
right.
And I think there's no way we're going to know how we feel, and permission always to pivot. I think that's a great way to go into it.
Yeah.
Now, the time might come where you're like, shit, I don't want to have to make all these phone calls and tell everybody, right? So
Yeah.
remember that you don't have to. You don't owe anyone anything except for you and maybe your partner.
Right.
And that could look like, I'm going to tell my best friend, and I'm going to ask my best friend to please call X, Y, and Z and be like, I know we're not that close, but this is what she's
Right.
going through, and here's how you can support, right? Asking for what you need is huge in
Yeah.
this and any part of the motherhood journey. And I always say it takes a village to make a baby, not just to raise a baby, because you do need all these people to count on when you're going through the hard stuff.
Mhm.
And people often say, like, tell me what I can do. I want to be here for you. Take advantage of it.
Mhm.
It might be something hard, like, okay, what I need you to do is call these 4 people and tell them I had a loss. But if that's going to protect your head and your heart, then you got to ask for it. It's the most
Yeah.
important thing,
It
you
is.
know?
And be open to it, right? Like,
Exactly.
you don't have to do it all. You don't have to be it all. Be open to, like, yes, receive the help. People and want to. People
Yes,
want to help, right?
they do.
If they're
And they
offering.
don't know how. They don't know how so much of the time. And they think they're saying the right thing when they're like, keep me posted. Let me know what I can do. Right. And those are beautiful, wonderful things to say, but like just show up without asking the person who's suffering to now have to tell you what to do or
Right.
now have, right? Just show up. Like, and I've seen memes about it now. They did not exist when I was going through this, and probably not when you were going through this, but like, friendship is showing up and putting my best friend's ice cream on her front door because I know she
Yeah.
wouldn't ask me for it, but she needs it, right? Doing those things without being asked are huge.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes it's, and we're especially as women, we are not great at receiving sometimes.
Yeah.
So, let me know when I can get you dinner is so different than I'm sending you dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Here's what I was thinking I would get you. Anything you're allergic to, and just do it.
Do it.
Like
Yeah.
that makes such a difference in terms of showing up for your
Yeah.
people, and especially when navigating loss or infertility.
Yeah. Because sometimes just making a choice, any choice,
Oh, yes.
too much, right?
I
It's just
mean,
too much. Being like,
like
this food is
literally,
on its way. I got
hope
you
you like
5
it.
different options. If you don't like all of them, you're most likely gonna like one of the
Right.
options. I got you 5
Totally.
different things, share the rest, store some later for lunch tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
just
think
do it.
like as moms, we probably would all agree, like for every Mother's Day, birthday, Hanukkah gift, whatever, all I want to do is not make a decision. So don't be like, where do you want to go for your birthday? Be like, I know you love this place. Let's go there. Like that is so different. And taking that mental bandwidth away from me, I will love you forever.
Forever,
Yeah.
forever and ever. Yeah, someone just sent me food the other day. We're working with a company called Nourish, and she's gonna offer some stuff to our moms at the summit, but it's like postnatal nourishing food, but affordable and
Yes.
sustainable. And she's out here in LA too. And she noticed this space where it was needed, because she's 30 something weeks
Yeah.
pregnant.
Yeah.
And kind of launched her ideas and passion, and experience like into this space. And I was like, these
Yes.
things, even food delivery, like even like grocery, like all these things didn't exist when I had all my
Exactly.
babies. But now that they are, like, take advantage of things like that. Take advantage of putting those things on your registry. Like we
Exactly.
partnered up with Tot Squad, who has an online registry of services, right?
Yes.
So
There are
like get
several of
a
those now.
coach. You want
Yeah.
someone else to
Yep.
boss your partner around, that exists now. And then
Yes.
you can make your mother-in-law pay for it. Little does she know you're hiring someone
She messed
to
up.
boss
She
her
messed
son
up.
around,
Yes.
and tell him what's up. You know what I mean? And I mean, not really, but I mean, some of them will do that. They'll come into the home, whether they're sleep expert, lactation, newborn care specialist, they'll come into the home and be like, you need to help, you need to do that. And they're, to help protect and support the mom. And sometimes it just takes someone else from outside coming and being like, listen, this is what's up. Here to
Exactly.
support.
And that's exactly the point. Like we've all, especially as female entrepreneurs now, with the rise of the female entrepreneur and warrior, like we're like, listen, we went through it and there's a better way to go through it. So let's make that way. And that's what we're doing. And I think it's amazing. It's totally why I created my business,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
I love
And
that.
I think for me, and like I know we've talked briefly about this, it was very hard for me to give up my identity as an infertile person
Mm,
because I was that person for so long. I didn't know. Once I had my babies, I was like, whoa, I do not. Sure, we all experience this identity shift when we become mothers, but it was
hmm.
less becoming a mother and more releasing my infertility story that was very hard for me. And so I'm still working on it,
Yeah.
but I do feel like being entrenched in this world of infertility and people going through it helped me hold on to that identity and take the best parts of it with me. And I don't remember, the most horrible parts personally that I experienced, which some people do, some people don't. There's no right or wrong. Like, of course, I remember the trauma, but I can easily now talk about it, whereas
Right.
5 years ago, I couldn't.
Right.
And I think it was a way for me to still honor that part of me that I went through because I gave almost my whole 30s to infertility. And I was like, I don't know who I am without this. And I feel like I have become a voice for people suffering in silence, of which there are way less now, which is great. But I don't want to abandon them. And so
Mm,
for me, creating a business like this feels like I'm honoring both my motherhood and my infertility,
yeah.
you
It's
know?
because it is in a space that many are in for so many years. And I'm sure you form connections and community and it's on your brain and heart for such a long time. And that's I could see how that's how do you don't probably ever really step away from that, but you found a way to be in it, but then be in it in a healthier space, right? Like you're saying,
Right.
like a year out, like no chance. But like then you're able to be like, yeah, I actually want to stay in this space now that I've come out the other side. And you're able to kind of look back and see this, sort of bigger picture with I
Yeah.
think is I'm sure very rewarding for you, but still very challenging, to
Yeah.
see these families and guide them through this extremely hard time. But like, we need people like you to do that, right? Because it's really hard, as you know, to like try to navigate that on your own with a partner who is most likely not a fertility expert,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah, I get
Yeah,
that.
it is. It's hard. And I think, in terms of like that identity and creating this business, I also was surprised that I didn't want to spend every second with my kids when they were born because I
Yeah,
figured since it took, right, I think that sometimes is surprising for a mom who went through infertility. You think you're going to want to spend every second with them. And I did not at all. And I was like, oh my God, like, I can't do that. I can't be at home all the time with it. Like, I will be a miserable human.
right.
And that was very surprising for me and also helped me come up with the business idea because it was a way for me to have the flexibility, but also serve this population that I feel very connected to.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find that a lot of these mothers that come out of, on the other end of infertility, that they are too doting or spoil too much, or I could see myself with that in me. And I didn't know if that was a common sort of, theme or trend. Like I was like, I was just everything was like next level. Like I just
Yeah.
had to because I don't know. I was like, part of me was like, well, because I deserve it. She deserves it because, it was a struggle to get here. And so I'm going to, go in debt and have the Pottery Barn crib. And like, like I just felt, and I don't know if that is a common trend or not. I don't know. It just came to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I was that like, oh, but I deserved the blah. And it
Right.
wasn't beneficial in the long run,
Right.
right? I was like,
Right.
oh, like I maybe could have,
Right.
not maybe
Scaled
purchased
it back.
any baby shoes for a
Yeah.
baby that's a baby that doesn't use
I
them.
really see both. I really see both. I see a lot that go that route of like, I'm going to get everything. What if this is my one shot? I want her to have the, good night moon full nursery and I'm going to pay to have it decorated that way. And then I also see, which is more how I was, we spend so much freaking money on infertility treatment. Like, I will get them every hand me down that's in good shape from every human that wants to give it to me. I will take it. And that was one amazing benefit of getting pregnant
Yeah.
later after all this journey. So many of my friends had stuff to give me, and I took everything. And
Yeah.
then I regifted, and it makes me so happy to be able to give it to somebody else. So, like, I really see both. And there's no wrong one. You deserve all of it. If you want to make your nursery look like a good night moon nursery girl and it's going to put you in debt but make you happy, you do it. Or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. So,
Yeah. But you would
I do both.
probably be a voice of reason as well. If it's going to cause tension in the family, maybe there's like a little, a medium point in which you can
Right.
maybe.
Find
My
some kind
husband's
of
like, what is this?
compromise.
Another order? And I was like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
But I,
I've been through
looking
hell, don't
back,
ask. Yeah. Yeah. Hindsight's always 2020. So,
right?
we try to guide that way for sure.
Right. And then I justify all the things because I had two more kids after that. I'm like, we got plenty of use out of all the things.
Totally. And I will say I had like a very crazy birth and I ended up having an emergency hysterectomy, which I'm very at peace and fine with. You can see if anyone's there's my little uterus hanging on the wall. It's a
Oh,
macrame uterus. And I always say it like represents what I no longer have in my body, which I am totally fine with and have made
yeah.
peace with. But I knew when I had my two, for 1,000 reasons, this was going to be it. Um, and I was not going to be saving baby things for anybody else. So that did inform how I decided a lot of things. In some
Right.
cases, it would be, this is my one chance. I've always wanted to have them have this outfit. I'm going to buy it because
Yes.
this is it. And in other ways, it would be like, this does not make sense to spend money on because somebody's giving me a used version and I'm going to need it for 3 months and I'm going to take the hand me down. So
Right.
I think if you can be in that rational frame of mind to make it like an educated decision, great. And if you can't, you know what? Like, it's okay.
That's okay too. Yeah.
Yeah. Go easy on yourself.
Right. And I think it
You
helps
know,
to hear someone say that
exactly. Sometimes you
to
just
you,
need that validation.
you know,
Exactly. Yep.
because you're dealing with so much postpartum and a lot going on up there. And sometimes you just need someone to be like, you know what? It's okay.
Do what
It's
you need to
okay.
do.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I think that is really a lot of what I do along the way too.
Yeah.
Am I crazy for doing another round of IVF? People ask me all the time.
Sure.
You have to ask yourself, am I going to wake up one day that I'm, pissed that I'm $30,000 more in debt? Or am I going to wake up one day and realize I have no chance of making any more eggs or embryos and I missed it,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a lot of like really prioritizing what's in your heart and what's in your head.
Yeah. Kind of digging down deep for that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love that um, you offer everything in that journey, right? The decision making, that support and that guidance, like how do you prepare for the doctor visits and the different procedures that might take place and the hormone therapy and you're just this space that you hold for people, right? Yes,
Yeah.
in the resources and the journey and finances, all the things, but it's like, let's take all these things and then like I'll hold space for you in the midst of it all, which I think is really special.
Exactly. Thank
Very,
you.
very cool. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for everything you do
My
and all
pleasure.
that you are.
Mhm.
It's so special to see, a village of moms start a business, start supporting moms in a space that they lacked, in a space that they felt
Yeah.
like it was lacking for them during, their experience through, infertility, through, loss for, all the different aspects. And I don't know, I'm getting like goosebumps, I'm getting kind of teary. Like it just makes it that much more meaningful and special when you can like look someone in the eyes and like legit, like, I know, I've been there.
I've been
I got
there.
you, and as
Yeah.
cheesy as like I got you mama summit title is, like it is like so resonated with me because how
Totally.
much I wanted in like I feel like you're in the depths of despair and you might not like come out of that hole. To just have someone like that had been through something similar, and say like, it's okay, I got you, you're gonna be okay, you
Totally. It's
know? It's
everything. It's
it's
everything.
everything. And it
Yeah.
just I don't know, didn't know if I didn't feel worthy of that or if I just wasn't in the space to reach out or find access. Like, I don't know. It was, 14 years ago, it was my, first kid, but I
Yeah.
just, I want to connect more people to all the
Well,
people, right?
you are
That's
a
like my
master.
goal.
Yeah, you're a master of that. And that's why you're doing what you're doing. And
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Well, people need to reach out and connect with you.
Yes.
We're going to have all the information available for them, but just shout it out right now how the best way to get in touch with you, to reach out, any questions, concerns, if they want to work with you.
Yes. So I'm InCircle Fertility, INCI, like in circle, like up level your inner circle is where it came from.
Oh,
InCircle
cool.
Fertility everywhere. Instagram, InCircleFertility.com, on LinkedIn, on all the places. I respond to everything. If you want to connect, I give a free 15-minute consult. It's usually more like 30 minutes to everybody. I really try to get to know you and your situation, and I will really tell you if I think I can lighten the load for you or if maybe you don't need my services. And I want every person to create their perfect team of people to get them to their baby. So hopefully that includes me. And if not, I will honor that as well. Please do reach out. Questions, if you go on my website, there's tons of resources if you're either going through infertility or if you're supporting somebody going through infertility. And I just love meeting and connecting with women in this community. So thank you.
I love that. I love that I saw that resource guide on if you know someone that is, right?
Yes.
So much of it is about, I think we all do. I think every
Yeah,
single one of us knows someone that is, and it's hard to
definitely.
know what to say or do or how to react, you know what I mean? And it can get maybe uncomfortable if maybe you just don't know
Yeah,
what they need, right? And if you're not comfortable
totally.
asking, and I love that you offer all that guidance there because that's something everyone can relate to. So even if they can't relate to
Exactly.
infertility, like they can go to your site, they can click on that resource and then just educate yourselves on how to support someone that is. Like you could
Right.
be the person that makes the most difference in their lives just by educating yourself on how to help them, right? Which I think is really
Exactly.
special. So thanks for
Thank you.
creating that.
Yeah, thank
Awesome.
you.
Yay.
Yay.
Alana Feder, you're the best. We're going to get lunch sometime soon
I
because
hope
unlike
so.
the person I interviewed earlier is in Germany and I was like, let's hang out someday.
One
And I can
day.
like, you and I can actually like hang out closer to someday.
I love it. All right. Well, great to see your face, and we
Yes.
will do lunch at some point.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alana. I appreciate
Bye.
you.
Of
Chat
course.
soon. Okay. Bye.